Can you hear me now? How about now? Still no? Okay, you can? Okay, that sucks. I have to keep my little picture up there so I can, even though I just want what I'm showing on my screen, I guess I have to have my little icon there. Why is that the case? How about, okay, that's better. Sorry, we'll get to the news segment in just a second, but it would be worth it here to get this right. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me, what I'm saying right now? How about now? Now. Can you guys actually not hear me right now? You can. Okay. Um, yes, okay, perfect. Alright, we're good to go. Um, okay. I wish I really had some, okay, jerk, Ethan. I really wish we had some, um, like non-cringe music to play during this intro, like a Majority Report does, but whatever. We'll just go with it. If you have any suggestions for music, please send it to me. You could email me, by the way, with any questions or anything at tpchatter at gmail.com. You could always reach out that way. And with that being said, let's get to today's program. And right now, some music would be nice, but whatever. So the show is called TP Chatterline. Or sorry, TPC Chatterline, which doesn't really make sense. The political chatterline, but whatever. Episode 1, June 16th, 2025. Broadcasting from Connecticut. Um, so let's go through today's news. What do we have? Well, we have Zoran Mamdani is on the verge of defeating Andrew Cuomo and the Cuomo dynasty in New York City. This would be absolutely historic, as you all know. Andrew Cuomo being taken down in itself would be incredible to witness on election night. However, what makes it even better is the fact that it would be Zoran Mamdani who is beating him. And it would be the biggest win for the political left since, like, at the very least, AOC beating Crowley in 2018 in that primary. But you could very well argue and make a very good that Zoran winning would be an even bigger win for the left since AOC 2018. So then you're looking like, since, like, I don't know, you'd have to know better history to answer that. Also on the program, we have a Minnesota state rep who is the Speaker of the House of Minnesota, has been assassinated on Saturday night. No, Friday Saturday morning. I mean, at like 3 a.m. That is insane news. That is awful news. And we'll get to that. I mean, this country, I'll tell you, is not going down a good road at all. Not at all. Especially, and we're going to get to this, Mike Lee's reaction. I mean, what a pathetic kind of guy Mike Lee is. And for someone who's supposed to be so principled on policy and stuff. And then finally, we will conclude with Trump potentially getting us in Israel's war and Netanyahu's war with Iran. Um, which they started, obviously. I'm sure, Trump was very well aware of this war starting, and he unfortunately does not seem close to the idea of joining yet another war. Trump once again proving to be a fake populist and not really being anti-war in his actual beliefs. Um, so all of that and more on today's Chatterline. So we'll start with this news about Zoran Mamdani, and let me just pull up some numbers that I have here. I guess we'll start with what I posted here for a second. So we have some early vote numbers coming out of New York City. as you all know, this is currently here. I will share this tab instead. Let's actually get to this first. Um, so this race has been quite an exciting one. With the rise of Zoran Mamdani in these recent weeks. And it's so different from 2021, which is really what gives me and other lefties such hope that we could actually win this race, that Zoran could actually win this race. When you're looking at the field, it's divided between of people who will be on the ballot. It's divided between pro Cuomo people and anti Cuomo people. Cuomo is dominating the issues of this race. You have Zoran Mamdani, Brad Lander, Michael Blake, Adrian Adams, and Zelnor Myrie all running their campaigns almost exclusively on beating Cuomo. That is their main message of the campaign is don't rank Cuomo. So what you've seen is utilization of ranked choice voting. I will tell you, Zoran Mamdani and any other candidate in the race would have a much worse chance of winning and actually beating Andrew Cuomo if it wasn't for New York City using ranked choice voting in their elections. Because what that means is that you can do more with less support. You know, you can have someone like Zoran Mamdani, he can have less hardcore number one, ranked number one supporters in New York City. But as long as he builds a broad enough coalition where you have enough people ranking him somewhere on their ballot above Cuomo, that allows him to win. Even if in the first round, among first place votes, Cuomo gets way more than Zoran, which is what we're expecting, that allows someone like Zoran to come back. And it's because all these other candidates are running on, you know, almost every other candidate besides Jessica Ramos and Whitney Tilson. Scott Stringer is somewhere in the middle, but besides Ramos and Tilson, Ramos now dropped out, every other candidate is saying to their voters, do not rank Cuomo. Don't put him anywhere on the ballot. Every other candidate besides Ramos and Tilson agree that Zoran would be better than Andrew Cuomo. So what you're seeing is Brad Lander and Zoran Mamdani cross-endorsing. What does that mean? It means Zoran telling his supporters, rank Lander number two. Lander telling his supporters, rank Zoran number two. He also cross-endorsed with Michael Blake just today. Now, Michael Blake has about 4 supporters throughout the city, so that doesn't mean much. But someone like Michael Blake, I bet he doesn't even like Zoran that much. But if you're in his position, you're going to see how cross endorsing would help you a lot more than it helps Zoran, right? Zoran has way more supporters than you. If you're Michael Blake, he'll bring in a lot of new supporters to you. Michael Blake helps, if it's a race within race, cross endorsing with Michael Blake, if you're Zoran Mamdani, why not cross endorse with Michael Blake? That could put you over the edge in a very tight race. So all in all, this race is so different from 2021, especially, because there was not this utilization of ranked choice voting. They did not use it to their advantage in 2021. You had no you had no coalescing around Maya Wiley, the real progressive candidate, and in the end, she didn't even make it to the final round. It was Catherine Garcia who proved, unable to build a broad enough coalition, and she lost to Eric Adams by 5,000 votes when Eric Adams should not have won this primary. So it was all in all just a very, very odd race when you're looking at the candidates who ran. You didn't have a serious lefty in the race like Zoran Mamdani is. No one near a socialist like Zoran is. Maya Wiley is very progressive coded, but even now, progressive is starting to get a very new meaning than lefty, right? Than the left. Once, maybe a decade ago, used hand in hand, but that isn't the case anymore. Even progressive has transformed into this, you know, into this like socially centered sort of ideology where it's drifting away from, in my mind at least, what I'm viewing it, progressive is drifting away from its early, labor and economic roots, right? Which I guess it was always more of a social thing, right? Thinking back to the progressive era, um, in the early 1900s, I guess it was about women, a little bit about racial equality and all that. But still, over time, it has been closely aligned with labor and workers' rights. Now, I think it's starting to drift back towards more, towards more social ideology thing. So, anyway, going back to 2021, it was just an odd field of candidates where you had a total conservative, Eric Adams, in the race. You had someone who didn't really believe in anything, and Andrew Yang, besides UBI, which is a good policy, but he didn't have an ideology that he believed in. He got votes from everywhere. You had Scott Stringer. He's also one where he's kind of all over the board. We don't really know what he believes in. And it was just such a divided race. You had no cross endorsing at all. You had a way too late AOC endorsement from I. Wiley. No one knew what was going on. This is so much different, especially, when you're looking at, just look at the polling. You can see there's a clear consolidation of support between um, Cuomo and Zoran Mamdani. I wish we had a graph here. That would work better, but yeah, it's very different. It is very different from 2021, and it's I think we're gonna win this. Don't quote me because I don't know anything about elections apparently, but I do think that Zoran is going to win this race. When you're looking at some of the rallies that you're seeing, look at this rally. This photo doesn't do it justice because it's not a wide frame. But there were 3,000 people at this rally, absolute full capacity, wherever this venue was in New York City. But I don't, and this was the rally with AOC on Saturday. I don't think people are realizing this, but this was just among volunteers. This was not a public rally. You had to get invited to this, and you had to be a volunteer for Zoran Mamdani to be invited to this. These are just volunteers. How insane is that? You have this sort of thing for Zoran Mamdani. And then on the flip side, you have people being paid to hand out leaflets and brochures for Andrew Cuomo. That is true. He is paying people to hand out leaflets. He can't even. Honestly, though, it makes sense. Who is volunteering for Andrew Cuomo? At the end of the day, who is going to volunteer for Andrew Cuomo? The fact that I'm sure he doesn't have 100 volunteers, right? Handing out leaflets, which doesn't surprise you. But come on, you got to admit it's pretty insane when Zoran has at least 3,000 apparently because he filled this venue. Oh, sorry, 2,500. He filled this venue full of 2,500 people. He has, I'm sure, well over 2,500 volunteers. Didn't he say it's like 30,000? Something insane. When Andrew Cuomo literally can't get 1% of that. I guarantee you he can't get 1% of the volunteers Zoran gets. Obviously, I'm well aware that enthusiasm doesn't always matter, and people like to vote for the safe candidate. But you cannot tell me that turnout will not be an issue for Andrew Cuomo when you compare it to the support of Zoran Mamdani. Zoran is going to get all of his supporters out the door. If you have a plan to rank Zoran number one, you're going to go to the polls. Now, if you're planning on like number 4, you're not really passionate about anyone, ranking him number 3, number 4, number 5, sure, I could see that. But everyone who's ranking him number 1, they are turning out to the polls. And guys, this is already being proven in early voting numbers. So look at these numbers. This is the share of in-person early vote after 2 days, meaning this is, um, you know, take all the early votes in New York City so far as a whole. This is broken down by borough. So in 2025, this year, 32% of all the early votes so far have come from Manhattan. 8% have come from the Bronx, 37% have come from Brooklyn, 21% have come from Queens, and 3% have come from Staten Island. Now let's compare that to 2021. Manhattan, about the same. The Bronx, Cuomo's almost certain to be second best borough, the second most conservative, down 4 points. Down. Brooklyn, Mamdani's almost certain best borough, the most lefty, the most progressive, up 6 points. Queens, probably Mamdani's second or third best borough. It's Manhattan or Queens, probably second, but maybe third. That's up a point. Manhattan is also up a point. Staten Island, certainly Cuomo's best borough, by far the most conservative, votes Republican, down 3 points. So you have every borough that Cuomo is expected to do well in down in vote share, and you have every borough that Mamdani is expected to do well in up in vote share. There's no way around it. This is insanely good for Zoran Mamdani. Insanely good. I mean, this ups his chances so much after seeing these early vote numbers. I have some more for you. Here are the raw numbers, and you can just compare. Manhattan, and by the way, there's so much early voting altogether in 2025 compared to 2024. In Manhattan, right now, or this was actually yesterday, at the end of yesterday, or sorry, day one. This is after day one. 10,000 votes in Manhattan. It was 5,400 in 2021. In the Bronx, 2,700 now. In 2021, 2,200, barely any increase. And look at Brooklyn, 10,000 in right now, 4,800, 5,000 in 2021. It has more than doubled in Brooklyn. That's insane. Again, Mamdani's best borough, definitely. Queens, 6,500 in 2025. In 2021, half, 3,300. Staten Island, 1,100. Staten Island, 1,000. Barely any increase. So that's insane. I mean, it looks like Mamdani is favored. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but mine are certainly up. Um, I gotta be honest, I will be completely devastated if Mamdani doesn't win this election. Because guys, I gotta tell you, I've been following and religiously been following and supporting Zoran Mamdani for months now. I was really an OG supporter. I remember seeing his stuff in like February, early March, and getting right on board. So to see, and he was at like 10% then. So to see him come all the way up to actually beating Cuomo in polls, it's been insane to watch. Following through all the way. So I will tell you, I will be absolutely devastated if we come this far and lose to Cuomo by like a point. But honestly, I think we're ahead. I honestly think we're ahead, which is just insane. So how about we read some super chats here, or not super, just normal chats. Zelnor's logo is pretty awful. Pres- This is so true. God, you really gotta know the President Ford logo to understand this, and I absolutely understand the President Ford logo. Here's that Zelnor logo. Yeah, come on, Zelnor. Zelnor is actually pretty good. So here's my final ranking if I did live in New York City. Number one, obviously, Zoran Mamdani. Everyone watching this, if you live in New York City, does anyone even live in New York City here? Rank Zoran Mamdani number one, or at least rank him somewhere on your ballot, and do not rank Andrew Cuomo. That's also fine. Number two, Brad Lander. Brad Lander, or Mamdani has cross-endorsed for two people, Lander and Michael Blake. Lander is undoubtedly better than Michael Blake, but I would put Michael Blake at number three, even though he's at like 1%. Number four, rank on your ballot. This might surprise some people, Zelnor Maury. He's a very solid guy. He actually has a pretty good, pretty impressive record as well in as a state senator. Number five, I'm going Scott Stringer, I think. I don't know. Number five has mixed back and forth for me a lot. At one point it was Jessica Ramos, or Ramos might have been even higher. At 1.5 was Adrienne Adams, but she is gone. I would not even rank Adrienne Adams at this point. because she's like been going after Zoran a little bit lately, which makes me sad. At one point it was Michael Blake, but he's moved up after the cross endorsement. And now it's Scott Stringer. I'm going Scott Stringer, I guess. He's okay. I don't know really where he stands, but he's not winning anyway. Yes, Yang ran for eliminated. Well, this is the beauty of ranked choice voting here. So Maya Wiley finished ahead in the first round, but round after round after round, it's not like Maya Wiley was eliminated in the second or in the after the first round. Then it wouldn't make sense. But here, let's just look at the numbers. So you can see round 1, Maya Wiley led Catherine Garcia by 0.8%. And then let's head to round 4. You see she's still ahead, actually by more. Sorry, in that first round, Maya Wiley led by 1.8%. So then you head all the way up to round 4. Now she leads by 1.1%. Sorry, 2.1%. Yeah, 2.1%. So she actually expanded her lead, which is kind of insane. But then, let's see. But then it really narrows up. Catherine Garcia actually takes the lead over Maya Wiley once Sean. Oh wait. She takes the lead, I guess, after Sean Donovan is eliminated. I don't know why all of his supporters went to Catherine Garcia though. That is so odd. And then you can see after Scott Stringer, Diane Morales, I don't know who these people are, and Raymond McGuire were eliminated. Then Maya Wiley took the and then okay, this is insane. Then Maya Wiley took back the lead in the 6th round. This must have been so chaotic by 1 point or like 1.7 or 1.6. And then no 1.7. And then after Andrew Yang was eliminated, most of by the slimmest majority, most of his supporters went to Catherine Garcia, and that put her ahead. This must have been so chaotic. I was not following this because I was insanely young then. But God, it's so insane that I mean, look at after Maya Wiley was eliminated, and this is what we're going to see in this 2025 race. Look at round 7. 40.5 for Eric Adams, 30.5 for Catherine Garcia, 29.1 for Maya Wiley. So that 29.1% will be gone, or it was eliminated. So that's redistributed. And look at how heavily it broke towards Catherine Garcia. You had 10%. You had Adams gain 10%, just only a third. And Catherine Garcia gained like 20%. So 2/3. So they broke 2/3 for Catherine Garcia. And that's exactly what we're going to see with, you guessed it, Brad Lander. Brad Lander will it's not certain, but most likely, especially with the cross endorsement with Zoran now, he's most likely to be the last one eliminated before it's Cuomo and Zoran. So what you're going to see is Cuomo be ahead for basically the entire time. But until, Zoran will end, or I'm sorry, Brad Lander in that last round before he's eliminated, he should end with somewhere around 18, 19, 20%. If he's at 10% or 11 or 12 or 13 in the polls now, he should end with at least like 19 or 20. So that's a good chunk of votes. And considering that they cross-endorsed, they're going to break like 3/4 for Zoran, Lander's ballots. So expect to see Cuomo ahead, sometimes substantially, throughout all the rounds until the last, when Lander's votes get redistributed and the vast majority of them break for Zoran Mamdani. So I hope I answered your question there, DJ808. What are you guys talking about? I can't believe people are still finding out that New York City uses ranked choice voting for primaries. Wow, a non-American loves my content. Thank you so much. We have a Long Islander here. Nice. Republican voted for John Avlon. John Avlon was kind of awesome. I wish he won. I kind of thought he was going to win, honestly. I thought that was going to be a major upset. Wow, we have a Blake number 2 ranker here. Number 3 Lander. Oh god. We have alright, let's rank some logos since you all are doing that in the comments. So Adrian Adams, now that's a good logo. I love this logo. I like that shade of red with the purple. That like pinkish bright red and with that purple, that's a good logo. Um I mean do I have to say anything? Do I have to say anything? Michael Blake, come on, dude. What is this? What is this random shade of yellow, gold that you decided to use? That's an awful logo. Cuomo, it's really standard. I mean, it does the job. It's not good though. Um, and then you got Brad Lander. Like, come on, Brad, you're way better than this. You are way better than this logo. What is this? Anyone could make that logo. And then you have this absolute beauty. Everything about the digital Zoran campaign has been almost, just spot on. It doesn't get any more perfect than Zoran's digital game when it comes to the logo, the website, the videos, the posts, everything. Zoran's game has been spot on. Zelnor, this is so boring. There's a part of it I like about it. I don't know, but Jessica Ramos is just way too much, way too weird. What is the sun? Like, this would be a great logo um for a like a presidential campaign in like a South American country. Like I could really see this for like Uruguay or something like that. I don't know why. Um but it's New York City. It is New York City. You're not seeing that type of beautiful sunset or sunrise, whatever it is, in New York City. Stringer, that's awful. That's bad. And then you have Whitney Tilson. No comment. I don't like to give him attention. Yeah, what is the sun anyway? Look at. Oh, I have actually looked at this. And then. Oh, wait. I have to go to the main page. And then we have America's mayor, Eric Adams. Wait. That's the most Eric Adams thing to do ever. He's trying to get on 2 ballot lines and probably an independent. He's trying to get on a ballot line called and oh my god. Oh my god. And anti-Semitism. And then safe and affordable. So true. And then we have whatever this is. Now, how good do we think Jim Walden will do? Oh, okay. The Big Apple. I didn't even realize that's why the apple was his logo. Um, 1 second. Okay, let's get to this. So let me just I don't know. I hate giving stuff like this attention. But I mean, oh god, I just have to talk about it. I'm just giving in. This is what happens when Marxists don't get their way. I'm not even reacting to these specifically because he knows it's stupid and it's obviously not true. And it's to trigger the libs. And then he has Nightmare on Wall Street. I do have to make one comment on the specifics of this post. How, after a year, do these people still not understand, especially a sitting senator, that it is walls, not waltz? It is walls. How hard is that to comprehend? How many times have you seen the name on a poster or on a paper? That annoys the heck out of me. But anyway, you have this is what happens when Marxists don't get their way. Nightmare on Wall Street. Oh my god. And then he has the audacity to post, "Wish my dad, Rex Lee, were here to celebrate Father's Day. He was a good man. We miss him." Like, how do you even post that? Because apparently he was kind of well known, and people on here were saying that he actually was a really good person. How do you even post that after you just post that? You just post a complete lie that you know these idiot Republicans are falling for. That you know, some people, this like stuff like this is all they see. If all they see on Twitter is people lying and saying that this assassin was a Democrat and just making up random stories, they're going to think that the assassin was a Democrat, even if it's just total lies. They're not looking into it further. The, it, and he knows that people will believe this. And the fact that it's still up, it hasn't been deleted. It just, and like, obviously no Republican is going to say to him, "Yeah, you should take this down." It just shows you how how terribly we're doing as a country here. How low the bar has been set. It's just sad. It is just sad. And then you have this. Now this is nice to see. Some accountability being held. At least a little accountability. Tina Smith confronted Mike Lee in a closed door Republican budget meeting. And pulled him out and talked to him. I mean, and it was about the post. This is exactly what we want to see here. Thank you, Tina Smith. Every Democrat should be doing this. Yeah, based Mike Lee. I'm so based. I'm so based. God. Mike Lee is one of the worst Republican senators. Wait, can you hear my audio? Can you hear my audio? It said something that, tell me if you could hear my audio. It said that it like disconnected or something. Oh, okay. But anyway. Enough with that. What if Cuomo wins the Dem nomination and Zoran wins third party? Okay, I talked about this a while ago. So if Cuomo wins the Dem nomination, Working Party's family, which has a ballot line in New York, in Connecticut, and I think like Massachusetts or something. But the Working Families Party needs and probably will, if Zoran agrees, if Cuomo wins the Dem nomination, they need to put Zoran on their ballot line. They need to. Then you have Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, Eric Adams, Jim Walden in the general election, who are all conservatives. You have 4 conservatives splitting that moderate and conservative vote. There is a real chance of Zoran being able to take his coalition of Democratic primary voters, building on it just a little bit, and winning the election from the Working Families Party. Guys, that is, I think, a greater possibility than I think most people think. I mean, think about it. You have a 4-way split between the moderate and conservative vote. If you have the progressives and lefties line up behind Zoran, he wins easily. So yes, they should do that. There's also the chance of a 6-way general election race. It is a non-zero possibility that that Lander wins the Democratic nomination if if all the Cuomo people if all the Cuomo people don't rank Zoran, but they have Lander somewhere on the ballot, and if all the Zoran people don't rank Cuomo but have Lander somewhere on their ballot, that does open a door, a very slim, but a door for Lander to come in and win that nomination. So you'll have Lander there. You will have Cuomo from his random ballot line that he made, like whatever it was. I don't like fight hard and deliver or whatever cringy name it was that no one will vote for. That's two. You have working families. They might put up a more lefty candidate for mayor, someone like Zoran. That's three. Four, you have Sliwa, the Republican. Five, you have Eric Adams, independent, and six, you have Jim Walden, also independent. So could you imagine that if it was a six-way race between them? You would have Zoran winning like 25% of the vote of that lefty progressive vote. You would have Adams winning like 8 to 10. You would have Sliwa winning 10 to 15. You would have Walden winning, 2, 3, I don't know, who knows, 2 to 3. And then you'd have Cuomo winning, or then you'd have Lander getting a good chunk, 30%, just as the Democratic nominee. And then you'd have Cuomo getting the rest. It would be an absolute insane race, but a cool one to think about. Um so yeah. So inshallah, Zoran Mamdani will be New York City's next mayor. New York City is about to elect a socialist Muslim as their mayor. How far we have come. I mean, that would really restore a lot of hope in me in American politics if Zoran was able to win this. Yeah, no, that's true. I was just adding that for a dramatic effect. Um, so please, if you live in New York City, vote for Zoran Mamdani. If not, vote for Brad Lander, number one. If not, vote for Michael Blake. Just guys, the biggest thing, don't rank Andrew Cuomo. There is no reason to rank Andrew Cuomo. And I don't know if people will realize that, but I will tell you this, that is true, and it will result in low turnout for Andrew Cuomo. So we have to have high turnout for Zoran, and we could win. What upsets me, though, is the fact that Mamdani cannot ever run for president as he was born in Uganda. That is really upsetting. Fight and deliver. Oh, yeah. No, I saw that same screenshot from, like, Wikipedia. Wait, let me pull it up. In Cuomo's party, it legit said, wait. Here. This is on Cuomo's Wikipedia page. Fight and deliver party. It has two ideologies listed. Moderate liberalism. Joe Biden doesn't even deserve to be the photo for moderate liberalism. He was a lefty on the economy and everything until Gaza happened, even Afghanistan. And Zionism is the other one that they put. Oh my God. cousin witnessed that? That's insane. Yes, that's because both of his parent or no, that's because it was like a diplomatic trip. Um, his dad was like the ambassador to India or something, I'm pretty sure. I don't think we're going to get to the war that Israel started, unfortunately. Maybe that could come in the next episode. So I'll end it there. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's Chatterline, episode 1, June 16th, 2025. Um, I can't promise anything about tomorrow. Maybe, probably not. And I'll let you guys know. Check my community tab for the next episode. We got through Zoran and a little bit of Minnesota assassination today. Um, and yeah, I'm happy with that. We got through a lot. So again, thanks so much for watching, and yeah, I will see you all later.